Ever felt like someone in your life was secretly rooting for your downfall? Like they smile in your face, but something about their energy just feels off? Maybe they gaslight you, sabotage your success, or act a little too happy when things go wrong for you. Well, let me tell you something. You're not paranoid. Some people aren't just haters. They're on a mission to break you, and today we're exposing signs that someone wants to destroy you, mentally, emotionally, and even professionally. This is going to be raw, honest, and a little controversial, because some of you are about to realize that a so-called friend, or even a family member, has been playing the long game against you. But don't worry. I'm also going to show you exactly how to outsmart them, because at the end of the day, people who try to destroy you only do it because they fear your potential. By the way, if you enjoy deep, thought-provoking insights on Stoicism, self-improvement, and navigating life with wisdom, you'll love my free newsletter. Every Sunday I share powerful lessons, controversial truths, and practical strategies to help you level up, all for free. Want to join? Sign up using the link below and start receiving value-packed content straight to your inbox every week. And if you're a brand looking to sponsor my content and reach a highly engaged audience, feel free to reach out via my email in the description. Let's create something impactful together. All right, let's dive in, because some of y'all need to hear this ASAP. 1. They act like your biggest fan. At first, be very cautious of the people who enter your life and immediately start acting like they are your biggest supporters. They come in strong, hyping you up at every opportunity, showering you with compliments, and making it seem like they believe in you more than anyone else ever has. At first it feels great. Maybe they call you a genius, tell you that you inspire them, or even say things like, "I can already see you becoming huge. You're going to make it big. I just know it." They might even brag about you to others, painting you as the next big success story. And because we're all human, we soak it up. Who doesn't want to feel recognized? Who doesn't want to feel supported? So we start trusting them. We start opening up, sharing our ideas, our plans, our insecurities. We start thinking, finally, someone who gets it. But that's where the trap is set. At some point, often right when you start making real progress, their energy changes. The compliments slow down. The enthusiasm fades. You start noticing little comments that make you second-guess yourself. Maybe they say things like, "You sure you can handle all this success? Just don't let it get to your head. I mean, yeah, you're doing well, but let's see if you can keep it up." At first you brush it off. Maybe they're just being realistic. Maybe they're trying to keep you grounded. But then it keeps happening. You start feeling like every achievement is met with skepticism instead of excitement. And then you notice something else. Suddenly, they're not as available as they used to be. The long, supportive messages turn into one-word responses. The person who once told everyone about your potential is now downplaying your success. Maybe they even start avoiding conversations about your progress altogether. That's when it hits you. They were never truly supporting you. They were supporting the idea of you staying where you were. Why do people do this? Because it was never about you. It was about them. A lot of people like to think of themselves as the wise mentor, the person who discovered you, the one who saw your potential before anyone else. It makes them feel important. It makes them feel powerful. But the second you actually start stepping into that potential, that's when the jealousy kicks in. Because now, they're no longer the wise mentor, the supporter, the big brother figure. They're just another person watching you succeed. And they can't handle that, because deep down, they never actually wanted to see you rise above them. So they start chipping away at you. They start subtly discouraging you, making you doubt yourself, planting seeds of fear in your mind. And if you let them, they'll slowly drain your confidence until you start questioning everything. And that's the whole point. Because if you stop believing in yourself, if you start second-guessing your path, if you slow down, then they don't have to deal with the uncomfortable reality of watching you outgrow them. I had a friend like this once, when I was still struggling to figure things out. He was my #1 cheerleader. Every time we talked, he would hype me up, tell me how talented I was, how I was destined for something great. But the moment I actually started seeing success, everything changed. I remember telling him about a big opportunity I got. I expected excitement, maybe a, "That's amazing, man, I'm proud of you." Instead, his response was, "Wow, let's see how long that lasts." That was the moment I realized he never wanted me to succeed. He just liked watching me struggle. From that point on, I started noticing all the little ways he tried to undermine me. He would say things like, "I just hope this success doesn't change you." Or, "You should be careful, success isn't for everyone." It wasn't concern, it was resentment. And when I finally stopped looking for his approval and just kept moving forward, he distanced himself. That's when I learned something important. Some people don't leave your life because you failed. They leave because you succeeded. Not everyone who claps for you actually wants to see you win. Some people only support you when they feel superior to you. They like being the one who believes in you because it makes them feel powerful. But the moment you prove you don't need their validation, they panic. Real support isn't loud in the beginning and silent when you succeed. Real support doesn't come with strings attached. If someone's energy shifts the moment you start winning, that's all the proof you need. They weren't rooting for you. They were rooting for the version of you that made them feel good about themselves. So when people start pulling away the second you step into your power, let them go. Because anyone who stops clapping when you win was never in your corner to begin with. 2. They stir up drama but play innocent. You ever notice how some people always seem to be around drama but never in it? Like somehow chaos just magically happens near them, but they're always the innocent bystander. They never start the fire, but they sure know how to throw gasoline on it and walk away like they had nothing to do with it. You might hear them say things like, "I hate drama, but did you hear what she said about you? I'm just looking out for you, but I heard something you might want to know. I don't want to be involved, but I think you should know what people are saying." And just like that, you're suddenly caught up in some nonsense you had no part in. And the best part? If you call them out on it, they'll act completely shocked and say, "What? I was just trying to help. Why are you mad at me?" These people are master manipulators. They don't create drama directly. That would make them look bad. Instead, they plant seeds, make suggestions, and accidentally let things slip. They stir the pot just enough to get other people reacting, then step back and pretend to be the voice of reason. They love watching the tension rise between others, as long as they can keep their hands clean. And the real kicker? If you call them out, you become the problem. They'll flip the script so fast, suddenly you're the one who's too sensitive or making a big deal out of nothing. Meanwhile, they sit back and watch as everyone else argues, completely untouched by the chaos they created. Why do people do this? There are a few reasons why people like this exist, and none of them are good. They thrive on power. Drama gives them influence. They love being the middleman who controls the flow of information and plays people against each other. They crave attention. They love being the trusted friend that everyone confides in, the one who always knows what's going on. They enjoy watching others fail. It makes them feel better about themselves when they see friendships breaking down, people arguing, or someone getting a bad reputation, all because of something they started. This kind of person is dangerous because they operate in the shadows. They know exactly how to manipulate situations while keeping their own reputation spotless. I once had a friend who was the human version of a reality TV producer. She didn't just observe drama, she engineered it. She would go to one person and say, "Hey, just so you know, I think Sarah is mad at you. She told me she didn't like what you said the other day." Then she'd go to Sarah and say, "I don't want to cause problems, but I think Jessica is upset with you. She said you've been acting weird lately." And just like that, two people who had no actual issue with each other were suddenly feeling tension. But when the drama finally exploded and people started arguing, she sat back, acting confused, saying things like, "Why is everyone fighting? I just want us all to get along." And I won't lie, I fell for it for a long time. I thought she was just trying to help, just keeping it real and making sure I knew the truth. Until one day, someone told me that she was saying things behind my back. And guess what she told me when I confronted her? "Wow, I can't believe you'd think that about me. I was just trying to help. I don't even like drama." That's when it clicked. She didn't hate drama. She needed it. She needed the constant tension, the gossip, the conflict, because without it, she had no power. If you notice someone always bringing drama to your doorstep, pay attention. Real friends de-escalate problems. They don't create them. A real friend wouldn't tell you, "Hey, I heard someone was talking about you." A real friend would say, "That person is irrelevant. Focus on what matters." A real friend wouldn't stir things up and then play innocent. A real friend would shut the nonsense down before it even started. So if you have someone in your life who always seems to be caught in the middle of drama, but never takes responsibility for it, understand this: they are not innocent. They are the common denominator, and the best way to win, cut them out. Because the second they don't have you to manipulate, they'll have to go find another show to produce. Three, they smear your name behind your back. There's nothing more dangerous than someone who pretends to support you in public, but secretly works to ruin your reputation when you're not around. These people don't just dislike you, they want to see you fall, but they don't have the courage to confront you directly. Instead, they operate in whispers. They spread rumors, twist your words, and poison people's perception of you, all while keeping a smile on their face when you're in the room. They'll say things like, "I love them, but I just think they've changed a lot lately. I don't want to gossip, but I feel like someone should say something. I used to admire them, but now I don't even know who they are anymore." And just like that, they plant doubt in people's minds. Even if you've done nothing wrong, the damage is done. People start looking at you differently. They start questioning you, distancing themselves from you, maybe even turning against you, all because someone who was too much of a coward to face you decided to poison your name behind closed doors. Why do people do this? There are a few reasons why people engage in smear campaigns, and none of them have anything to do with you. They feel threatened by your success. When you start growing, achieving more, or getting recognition, insecure people panic. They don't want to clap for you, but they also don't want to look like a hater. So instead, they create a false narrative to bring you back down to their level. They'll say you got lucky, that you've changed, or that you're not as talented as people think. Because if they can't rise above you, their next best option is to pull you down. They need control over how others see you. Some people have a desperate need to be in control of social dynamics. They want to dictate who is liked, who is trusted, and who holds power. And if they can't control you, they'll try to control how others perceive you. They'll frame themselves as the concerned friend or the insider, who just wants people to know the truth. In reality, they're just manipulating others to maintain their position of influence. They're just miserable and need someone to blame. Some people are simply unhappy, and instead of fixing their own lives, they make it their mission to ruin yours. If they can make others doubt you, question you, or even dislike you, it makes them feel better about their own mediocrity. I once had someone in my circle who, for years, pretended to be a good friend. He supported my work, gave me advice, and always acted like he wanted me to win. But one day, I started noticing weird energy from mutual friends. They seemed distant, a little colder than usual. Conversations felt awkward, like they knew something about me that I didn't. Eventually, someone pulled me aside and said, "Hey, just so you know, he's been saying some pretty messed up things about you." Apparently, this so-called friend had been running a full-blown smear campaign behind my back. He told people that I was arrogant, that I thought I was better than everyone else, and that I was using people for my own benefit. And the best part, none of it was true. At first, I was furious. I wanted to confront him, to set the record straight, to defend myself. But then I realized something. People who truly know you won't fall for the lies. The ones who believed him, they were never really in my corner to begin with. And as for him, the more I ignored his attempts to ruin my name, the more desperate he became. Eventually, his bitterness became obvious to everyone, and he ended up exposing himself without me having to lift a finger. That's when I learned a valuable lesson. Your reputation isn't defined by what bitter people say about you. It's defined by how you carry yourself in the face of it. If someone is smearing your name behind your back, don't waste your time chasing rumors or trying to clear things up. Real ones will see through the lies, and the fake ones, they were never meant to stay in your life anyway. The most powerful thing you can do is keep winning, keep growing, and let your actions speak louder than their gossip. Because the truth is, the people who work the hardest to ruin your name are only proving one thing: you were a threat to them from the very beginning. 4. They exclude you from important things. You ever notice how some people go out of their way to make sure you don't get invited to things? Not just random social gatherings, but the kind of events, opportunities, and conversations that could actually help you grow. It's not an accident. It's not forgetfulness. It's a strategy. People who want to see you fail won't always attack you directly. Some of them are way more subtle. Instead of tearing you down in front of others, they'll just make sure you're not in the room when important decisions are being made. They'll say things like, "Oh, I thought you were too busy to come. We didn't think you'd be interested. It just kinda happened last minute." Meanwhile, everyone else got the invite. Everyone else was in the loop, just not you. And here's the worst part. Sometimes these aren't even strangers. Sometimes it's the very people you thought were your closest friends. Why do they do this? Because exclusion is a silent form of sabotage. It's a way to keep you from growing without ever having to say a word against you. They see you as a threat. They know that if you're in the room, you'll shine, you'll bring value, you'll connect with the right people. And that terrifies them. So instead of competing fairly, they simply remove you from the equation. They make sure you're always a step behind, always missing key information, always on the outside looking in. They want to control the narrative. If you're not there, you can't defend yourself. If you're not part of the conversation, they can shape how others see you without you even realizing it. Excluding you gives them power. It allows them to present you however they want. Sometimes as irrelevant, sometimes as problematic, sometimes as not quite as great as people think. They enjoy watching you doubt yourself. Nothing messes with your confidence more than realizing you've been left out. When you start noticing that certain people always forget to invite you, or that opportunities keep slipping through your fingers while others seem to be getting ahead, you start questioning yourself. Did I do something wrong? Am I not good enough? Maybe I'm just overreacting. But you're not overreacting. You're being manipulated. I once had a group of friends that I considered family. We did everything together. Or at least, that's what I thought. But then, things started getting weird. I'd see pictures of them at events I never even knew about. I'd hear about group trips I was never invited to. And whenever I asked about it, I'd get the same recycled excuses. Oh, it wasn't planned, it just kinda happened. I thought you were busy. It wasn't a big deal, that's why we didn't mention it. At first, I gave them the benefit of the doubt, but then I started noticing a pattern. They always seemed to forget me when there was something to gain. If it was just a casual hangout, they'd invite me. But if it was an event where important connections could be made, if there was an opportunity to level up, meet the right people, or be in the right circles, somehow my name never came up. That's when I realized they didn't want me to succeed. They wanted me around, but only if I stayed at the same level. The second there was a chance for me to advance, I became conveniently invisible, so I walked away. And funny enough, the moment I started finding success on my own, those same people suddenly wanted to catch up. But by then, I had already learned my lesson. If people don't clap for you when you're building, they don't deserve a seat at the table when you make it. If you constantly find yourself left out of important things, it's not by accident. People who see your potential but secretly fear it will do everything they can to make sure you don't get the same chances they do. They'll make sure you miss the networking events, the meetings, the collaborations, the very things that could push you forward. But here's the thing. You don't need their invitation. You don't need to beg for a seat at their table. Build your own. Because real friends, real supporters, and real opportunities won't require you to fight for a spot. They'll make sure you're there. And if they don't, then you were never meant to stay in that room anyway. The next time you notice someone consistently keeping you out of things, take it as a blessing. They just expose themselves as the type of person who can't handle your success. And trust me, your success is coming, with or without them. 5. They constantly downplay your success. You ever achieve something you're genuinely proud of, maybe a promotion, a personal milestone, or just a big step forward in your life, only for someone to immediately water it down like it's nothing? Oh, that's cool, but it's not that big of a deal. Yeah, but anyone could do that. Let's see if you can keep it up. Must be nice to have that kind of luck. And suddenly, that victory you felt so good about, it doesn't feel so great anymore. Why do people do this? Because your success forces them to confront their own failures. Some people simply can't handle seeing others win, especially if they're stuck in the same place they've always been. So instead of celebrating with you, they try to minimize your accomplishments. It's not about you. It's about their own insecurities. Here's how they do it. They compare your success to someone else's. You tell them you got a big opportunity, and instead of congratulating you, they immediately bring up someone who's doing even better. That's great, but did you see what random person is doing? Now that's impressive. That's cool, but so-and-so did the same thing last year. Translation: you're not special, don't get too happy. They make it seem like it was easy for you. Some people can't admit that you worked hard to get where you are, so they'll make it seem like your success was just handed to you. Must be nice to have connections. You got lucky. It's different for you. You don't have the same struggles as the rest of us. They act like you just woke up one day and everything magically worked out. completely ignoring the years of effort, sacrifice, and discipline it took to get there. They try to humble you. You're excited about your progress, but instead of sharing your joy, they hit you with, "Don't let it get to your head." Success isn't everything. Just don't forget where you came from. Meanwhile, if someone else accomplished the same thing, they'd be hyping them up. It's not about keeping you humble, it's about keeping you small. My personal experience. I remember the first time I started gaining traction with my work. I was finally seeing real progress, making an impact, and doing what I loved. Naturally, I was excited to share it with the people closest to me, and at first, they seemed supportive until they weren't. The more I grew, the more I noticed certain people getting quieter. I'd share a big achievement, and instead of celebrating with me, they'd hit me with, "That's cool, but what's next? You're not the first person to do that." "Yeah, but anyone could go viral once." It was like no matter what I did, it was never enough in their eyes. And then I realized something. These people were fine with me as long as I wasn't doing better than them. When I was struggling, they had all the support in the world. But the moment I started winning, suddenly I was lucky, privileged, or not as impressive as I thought. That's when I stopped looking for their validation, because real friends don't make you feel guilty for winning. The bigger message. People who constantly downplay your success are revealing something about themselves. They're jealous. And the worst part, it's not even that they hate you. They just hate that your success reminds them of everything they haven't done. Because when you succeed, they lose their excuses. They can no longer say, "It's impossible." They can no longer say, "People like us don't make it." They see you doing it, and it forces them to ask, "Why am I not?" But instead of answering that hard question, they take the easier route, tearing you down. So here's what you do. Stop looking for their approval. If someone can't be happy for you, that's their problem, not yours. Celebrate yourself loudly. You don't need permission to feel proud of what you've built. Distance yourself from people who don't clap when you win. Life is too short to waste energy on people who want to keep you small. At the end of the day, successful people don't waste time criticizing others. They're too busy winning. So, if someone is constantly downplaying your success, take it as a sign you're doing something right. If you've made it this far, chances are you've recognized some of these behaviors in people around you. Maybe it's a friend, a coworker, a family member, someone who smiles in your face but secretly hopes you crash and burn. Here's the hard truth. Not everyone in your life is rooting for you. Some people only like you when you're struggling. They're comfortable with you being just okay, because the moment you start thriving, it forces them to confront their own insecurities. But let me tell you something. Their approval is not required for your success. The moment you stop looking for validation from the wrong people is the moment you set yourself free. So here's what I want you to remember. Real friends don't downplay your success. They celebrate it. Real supporters don't exclude you. They pull you up with them. Real confidence comes from knowing your worth, even when others refuse to acknowledge it. At the end of the day, the best revenge is not proving them wrong. It's living so well that their opinions become completely irrelevant. So keep winning, keep growing, keep building the life you deserve. And if someone in your life can't handle that, that's a them problem, not a you problem. By the way, if you enjoy deep, thought-provoking insights on Stoicism, self-improvement, and navigating life with wisdom, you'll love my free newsletter. Every Sunday, I share powerful lessons, controversial truths, and practical strategies to help you level up, all for free. Want to join? Sign up using the link below and start receiving value-packed content straight to your inbox every week. And if you're a brand looking to sponsor my content and reach a highly engaged audience, feel free to reach out via my email in the description. Let's create something impactful together. See you in the next one. Stay sharp, stay winning.